Well, hello. This is Karin Zoe Lee, and you're listening to Lotus Moon Productions. Welcome to the Wrastlin Wrantz project. Whatever the promotion, we're here to learn and discuss. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the next 45 minutes of wrestling discussion with your host, Shugo Hanasaki.
Welcome back to the Wrastlin Wrantz project. It certainly has been a while since our last episode. I've been deep into many new things with Lotus Moon Productions. We have a radio show that airs a couple of Sundays a month, which is jam-packed with synth-pop tracks from many different artists. And we have started Project Saga, which is an acronym for Sexuality and Gender Acceptance, a podcast where we introduce and discuss with many people under the LGBTQ plus umbrella about various topics under the same umbrella. We dive into positive and negative impacts and are often quite emotional, and if that wasn't enough, we have more interviews coming with several synthwave artists around the world under LMP Music. Lots to pimp out today. But with that being said, it's time for AEW Revolution Predictions once again. Time flies. It's the third AEW Revolution, which is kind of hard to believe. Time flies, like I mentioned. Normally, I'd put these under predictions, but I've decided to wrap it up under the Wrastlin Wrantz series. So let's dive right into things. And helping me predict this stacked pay-per-view is a guest I've had on before. You can catch him on his podcast, Gimmick Minute podcast, where he discusses various wrestling promotions as well. But today, he's donated his time to Wrastlin Wrantz. So without further ado, please help me welcome Jason from Gimmick Minute. How's it going today, man?
Good, man. How you doing? Sounds like you are incredibly busy.
I has been busy, yes. I'm doing well today. Take one day at a time, but yeah, lots of things. Just shaking Lotus Moon Productions up, adding a little thing here, adding a little thing there, and seeing where things go. So
Awesome. Sounds like a good time. The most I've done other than our podcast is start a TikTok. So that's really about it.
How's things going over at Gimmick Minute? What are you guys focusing on these days?
So these days we've kind of simplified things a little bit. We try to keep it to more of like an hour-long show, and we kind of just hit the high points. So anything that big that happens throughout the week on either WWE TV, AEW, or any of the news that's come out of the week from the world of wrestling, we try to cover most of those topics. We've started a little bit of a hate on Matt Cardona, so we've at least taken at least a little bit of time out of each episode to kind of hate on him, and just for fun. I mean, nothing crazy. I like to say that we're at war with him, but he has no idea. So it's been a good time. But I started a TikTok, so I actually will clip out part because we record the video version of the podcast. So I've been posting it on YouTube, but I'll clip out like kind of funny clips or things that make us laugh or pop us, and I'll put it on our TikTok and have some fun with that. So that's really been about it, man. Other than that, I've been working my real life job and just watching a bunch of wrestling. That's really about my life.
Well, I can't say that I'm not intrigued about the hate on Matt Cardona. Tell me a little brief about that, because that's hilarious.
So it kind of started with, the one of my co-hosts, Michael. He's a huge toy collector, and I've even gotten into collecting action figures. In fact, I was running kind of late to record because I happened to find a Ultimate Edition Undertaker at Target, and I was just picking that up and running to my car real quick. So, but he used to be a subscriber to the Major Wrestling Figure podcast network. He was even a part of their Patreon, stuff like that. But then he started kind of noticing how toxic Matt Cardona is to the toy community. And we've talked about him a lot on the show just because he's been making a lot of headlines for himself. And I even said that I was like, man, honestly, if he would have shown half of this when he was in WWE, he might kind of still be around. And then it was like, well, he tried to pitch different ideas, but they always saw him as this one thing, which, that kind of sounds on brand for WWE. Yep. But at the same time, though, like since he's a toy collector and now that he's started to collect belts and he's taken shots at like putting him on the top of the list of NWA world champions and comparing himself to other champions that never won the NWA championship, like Austin and Undertaker and all these guys, it just kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in our mouths, especially Kevin, who's on the show, because he's kind of a historian with wrestling and champions and things like that. So it kind of pissed him off. So we've just taken some little pot shots at Mr. Cardona. And actually, if you are the last a couple of our TikToks actually kind of focused on some of that. We were talking about were talking about him, and Michael was like, "Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, I just picked up a new Matt Cardona action figure," and then he held up a toy trash can, and kind of made us all laugh. So, so a couple episodes ago was titled "Garbage Can Cardona," so we just kind of kept up with that.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I mean, it is true. I mean, unfortunately, WWE never did utilize him in the way that so many people thought that he could be used. And I remember, I think it was a picture that he just took with a bunch of titles on the bed or something like that.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, and
I mean, he's a true heel. I mean, he's obnoxious. He's arrogant.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's a perfect heel, and it is on. If truly WWE did not notice this, or only could typecast him and didn't want to paint him in that picture, I mean, that is their fault for the huge miss that they had. But at the same time, though, I don't know if this was necessarily always in him. I think them letting him go was what kind of catapulted this attitude of his. And it sounds weird to say that sometimes that somebody who gets stagnant in their career leaving a lot of times can be a blessing in disguise, because it lets you see yourself in a different light as well. I don't know if he was capable of doing what he's doing to this level when he was in WWE.
Yeah, that's a good point. But at the same time, he's been a fantastic heel, and he knows how to work the audience. And one of the best things about a wrestler is when they're that self-aware. So, I mean, the fact that, you're able to make podcasts. I mean, he's being a dick online. He's being a dick at wrestling promotions. He's just, saying that he's top shit. It's just, at this point in the game, I'm just like, you know what? He probably loves the hate right now. He probably loves it because he's just, he's being a heel, right? That's his point. That's his purpose, to get that back. So, he's probably, but what am I trying to say here? I think he's probably doing the best he can with what he's got, and he understands that a lot of people are going to be mad at him, but at the same time, he's rubbing it in like salt on the wound. So I think it's great that you guys have started this series, or started this trash can thing and all this stuff, because if he's going to go out there and say things like that, the audience is going to react. But of course, again, he's self-aware. He knows what's going on. So that's excellent. And that sounds like a fun time over there.
No, yeah, definitely. We always try to have fun, man. Like, we joke around, and we talk about a lot of topics, but for the most part, we always get sidetracked and just start talking about random stuff. And just it's a wrestling podcast, but it's also a lot more than that.
Yeah. I do remember I was on there a while ago, and you have quite a few projects over there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
But we are here to predict AEW Revolution, and as I said, it's the third one. Can you believe it's only the third one?
Honestly, I was thinking about this. Like, it's kind of surprising that it's already the third one to me. I mean, it still feels like AEW just really got started a few, almost like a year ago. But here we're going on its third year, and it's pretty impressive how far they've come and how much has changed, honestly, since the first Revolution to now. It's crazy the amount of talent that they've added and everything.
Yeah, I mean, all the talent, the storylines, the different championships, and the fact that the first Revolution happened like a week before the world shut down is kind of crazy. So, like, the very first Revolution, and then pandemic.
Right.
It's been like, oh wow, yeah, it's been like 2 years. Like, it hasn't, for us here, it hasn't even been. It'll be officially 2 years in about roughly 3 weeks when we shut down. So it hasn't even been a full 2 years yet, which when I say out loud is just madness, because it feels like it's been forever.
Yeah.
Let's dive into the card, and I think we'll work our way from the single matches up into the stipulation matches, and then we'll go into the championship matches. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds good. So.
All right, well, starting off with Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston, which got pretty heated pretty fast, I would say, which I like. I like the direction they're going with this. Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston, who do you got and why?
So, this is This is kind of a tough one. It's been a really good build, I think. It's been a bit of a slow build, and it took a minute to get the focus here because there's that little sidebar with Santana Ortiz, but eventually, like the match with Kingston kind of seemed like it was inevitable, and really, I like Eddie Kingston for this one because honestly, Jericho doesn't need the win, and he's. I think Jericho at this point in his career is to the point where it's not like he's vying for AEW World Championship anytime soon. And I think a good way to help build Eddie Kingston is to kind of give him that win over Jericho, especially because Kingston really hasn't had a big win in a while. If I'm thinking back to some of his more recent matches that have been like bigger show matches. So I don't know. I like Kingston with this one.
I'm actually with you on that with Eddie Kingston. I believe it would do wonders for Chris Jericho to lose to Eddie Kingston. I mean, Eddie Kingston, like you said, has had that big win. I was recalling that Jon Moxley match where he was going for the title at that point, and we haven't had that big push for Eddie Kingston yet, in my opinion. And I think this is not just a one and done. I think this is going to turn into a couple of matches maybe, because I know AEW does rematches, but they don't do them very often. Like we had the series of matches with Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy, for example. Mm-hmm. And I think this is when Santana and Ortiz are going to officially, like, absolutely turn on Chris Jericho. Like I imagine Chris Jericho is going to be doing something, and then Santana and Ortiz are going to stop him, and then Eddie Kingston's going to get the win from there, and then it'll continue from there. But that's just speculation. But overall, though, whatever happens, I do think Eddie Kingston's going to get the win. So we're 1-for-1 on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
The second match, which is really, really cool storyline behind it, which I did not see coming. Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley, because they got to bleed together in order to tag together. Mm. And Bryan Danielson coming on with this aggressive new attitude, which I'm loving. I'm absolutely loving it. He had the aggressive attitude towards Adam Page, but at the same time, now he wants to suddenly team up with Jon Moxley and go for the titles and do all these things. So from my point of view, I'm choosing Bryan Danielson in this match, because if he loses, then Jon Moxley's like, well, you lost to me, so I'm definitely not going to join you then. But I imagine there's something special going to happen in this match. I'm not sure what, but I have Danielson for the win.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot on our show, and we honestly thought that there's a good possibility it could end in a draw as well, because AEW loves to have time limit or some sort of like draw in their matches. But honestly, it's a tough call, and I think you're probably right, but I could still see a scenario where even if Mox wins, they still end up being in that stable, because I don't think the way that Mox has presented it, it's not a condition of win or loss for him. It's just a condition of we need to fight. Like, we need to know what each other's capable of in this ring for me to be able to know that I can be a part of the stable with you. So I think win, lose, or draw, the stable's going to happen anyway, which I'm excited about. I'm really looking forward to it. But just to be different, I'll go Mox.
Cool. The draw shout out is good. Yeah, that's like something around that special thing that something's going to happen. But at the same time, if they're like, I also want, like a New Japan kind of caliber match where they're like, even, Moxley wins, and then, but at the same time, they're both absolutely busted open, giving it all. They've left everything that they have in the ring. And after the match, they gain respect for each other, even though Moxley wins. So, I mean, honestly, I don't see anything bad coming out of any winner here. Like, Moxley wins, cool. If Danielson wins, cool. So it's like, yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's a really cool match. And I mean, in WWE, it was Daniel Bryan versus Dean Ambrose, but I don't think we ever got that, did we?
I know they won against each other in some tag matches when Ambrose was with the Shield.
Yeah.
But a one-on-one match between the two of them, no, I don't think, because really during Ambrose's big singles run, that's when Bryan was out with his like neck and concussion issues. So no, we never actually saw them get that one-on-one chance. And by the time Brian came back, then he was on his way out. Mox was on his way out. So yeah, I think I don't think I've never seen it. I know they've had some indie matches and stuff like that, but on a main stage, I think this is gonna be a first.
Absolutely. Plus with this caliber and it's like bleed together, there's a lot of aggressiveness around this match. So yeah, it's going to be good. Whether it comes on first, second, third, fourth, or however it comes on the card, it's going to be a good match. It really, really is. Now moving on to the 6-man tornado tag team match, and sorry, go ahead there.
No, it just kind of made me laugh because there's so many good matches on this card, and this one is just kind of like thrown in there, and I'm like, fuck. It's like, okay.
At the same time, though, I'm actually excited that it's a tornado tag team match, because traditional tornado tag team matches mean that they're all in the ring at the same time. Right. So, it could be a little bit different than normal tag team matches. So, I mean, we have the AHFO with, because you got to include Andrade in there. Right. Versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Sammy Guevara. Now, from me, I'm picking Darby Allin, Sting, and Sammy just because Matt Hardy has been, quote unquote, having erratic behavior, and I love all the digs that they're having on BTE and on Dynamite about how WWE treated Jeff Hardy. I think it's beautiful because they did wrongly treat him. But also there's been a little tension between Andrade and Hardy as well. So. And also with the private party, Matt Hardy's is having enough, and maybe that implodes. I don't know exactly how it's going to implode, but I think at the end of the match, it's going to be Darby, Sting, and Sammy with the win.
Oh, you're 100% right, and I think this is the end of the AHFO, and I think Matt's going to move on to do something with Jeff here in the very near future, and maybe Andrade will take the stable over. Honestly, there's way too many factions in AEW to begin with, but I don't see any scenario where they win at all. I'll be honest.
Since we are on the Wrastlin Wrantz show, I do have to shout out that. I know a lot of people say that there's too many factions in AEW, and I can totally see where they're coming from. But I feel that there wouldn't be too many factions if they did introduce trios titles, which have been rumored for years now, for the past couple of years, trio titles. And there's like 10, at least 10 stables that could benefit from that. What do you think?
Maybe that's what Tony's big announcement tonight is.
That could be. And yes, I was going to shout that out. This is happening before the go home show for Dynamite. We had to record a little early, but that's all right though. Who knows? We could have a 10th match on the card by the time AEW ends tonight, but or by the time Rampage comes.
Well, it's either going to be. I'll be honest, because he said he's not debuting anybody. He's making a big, huge announcement. So my guess is one, it could be the trio titles, but more likely, I'm going to bet he's going to announce a streaming partnership with somebody like HBO Max or something like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the big announcement.
Yeah, there's also rumors about Ring of Honor as well getting involved.
Oh yeah, it could be. Yeah, maybe.
But who knows? Who knows what'll happen tonight? And everybody will get all their hopes and happiness above board, and then they get disappointed and complain.
Yeah, that's typical wrestling fans in a nutshell, pretty much. Like is there really a more toxic fan base in the world than professional wrestling fans? I mean, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, and that's pretty toxic. But I think professional wrestling tops it, though.
I know there's a few out there that I've had the pleasantries, I suppose, to witness, and wrestling, yeah, it can be pretty toxic, but at times it's tame compared to some of the stuff that I've seen. But yes, I get what you're saying. Now moving on to this real personal match, which I really, really appreciated the promo last week with MJF, and where I'm going with it. Yeah. Now, I thought that was brilliant. Apparently, it is a true story, but the way CM Punk played it out and how they're playing out with this feud, him coming out, without the mic, is that true? Did that actually happen? Are you serious? That made it really, really deep. And actually, it shows that as heel as MJF is, he can really put the work in to have an excellent promo, whether it's heel, face, whatever. He's a great wrestler as well. So yeah, the dog collar match, CM Punk versus MJF. Who do you got and why?
Oh man, this is a tough one to call, because I'll be honest with you. As much as I liked the promo that MJF cut, I have heard that it is a true story. Actually, even Conrad Thompson said that one of the first times he met MJF, MJF told him that story verbatim. So it's definitely not something that he just came up with, off the cuff.
Even if he did, though, that'd be brilliant.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Now, the problem is Punk the week before cut an amazing promo himself with Will You Be My Valentine, and just set that match up so beautifully to be a very brutal, bloody match, to where you just were like excited for the violence. But then with MJF coming out and cutting the promo he did, while it was great, it was a little disarming. Now I'm going into the match thinking, well, what the hell, man? Like, I know they have tonight to maybe kind of reset the course a little bit, but I'm almost kind of like, now I don't really want to see him get the shit kicked out of him now, because now I'm like, he related to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was my childhood. Like, I had ADD. I was a dork wrestling fan. I played football, and to his point, like, when you're a freshman or a sophomore on a team, you are not accepted by the people that are older than you. Like, you are basically treated like shit, like your first couple of years, until you kind of earn that respect, and you are bullied a lot by the older teammates. Like, you're not just a part of the team. So, like, I totally could relate to everything he said, and now I'm like, shit, man. Now I kind of want him to win, but then I was like, I'm not, but I also like Punk. I don't want to see Punk. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of disarmed me a little bit to be a dog collar match. Now, if this was just a regular wrestling match, it would have not had any effect on me whatsoever. I would still be just as excited for the match. But the fact that it's a dog collar match and Punk had that great setup, it just disarmed me so damn much. And honestly, I feel like MJF's going to win it, because I really don't, because I think he's going to use this promo to disarm Punk enough to screw him over somehow. So I think he'll get his heat back, because I don't see MJF being a babyface coming out of this. I don't buy into the people that think it's going to be a double turn by any stretch of the imagination, because AEW has very few true heels, and MJF is really one of the only ones, and I don't see them abandoning that at all. But yeah, I think it's going to be MJF one way or the other.
Yeah, I have a feeling that from my point of view, it's going to be CM Punk now, and that's, well, one is because MJF has been winning the matches, but also, and this ties into the next match that we're going to talk about, is I have a feeling that, since it's a dog collar match, that means there's no disqualification, so anything can happen.
Right.
Now, of course, there's a time limit, I believe. But
of course, there's got to be a time limit.
Yeah, there's a time limit, but with no DQs, that means people can get involved. And if MJF starts playing sympathy, and then he starts to screw over CM Punk, and then all of a sudden Wardlow gets involved and reverses that, and that kind of continues that storyline on with MJF into what I was going to bring up next with the Face of the Revolution match, because the number one contender for the TNT Championship, and rumors are that Wardlow will win that, and MJF wants to capture both titles. He made that statement. So if Wardlow wins, MJF would probably want to get it from Wardlow, and then maybe MJF go after Adam Page in the future if he retains. But we'll get to that match tonight.
Right. Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, I could see a scenario for both. You're 100% correct, but at the same time, I see, because Punk has also talked about going after the title. So if he wins, I think that gives him that launching point to go after it. Where if he loses to MJF, I think that knocks him down the card a peg, just by their whole standard of wins and losses mattering. But I don't know. I guess Adam Cole jumped the line, right?
Yeah.
So I guess maybe they're backing off on that a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call. It really is. I think it's going to be a great match regardless. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But, kind of going back to the same thing I said with Eddie Kingston is that, MJF is a young guy and he's really getting his feet under him right now. And a win in a gimmick match like that would go a lot further for him than it would for CM Punk.
Yeah, it would. It would. I just don't. At the same time, MJF is just such a drastically nasty heel. It's just like I don't know. But that's the fun of it, though. If CM Punk wins or MJF wins, it's back to like Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley. I don't care who wins. I'm just really enjoying the story.
Now, that we can definitely agree on.
Now the next match is the Face of the Revolution match. Number one contender for the TNT Championship, Keith Lee of all people. Like, that was an amazing debut, by the way. Versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Orange Cassidy versus Ricky Starks versus Wardlow versus one more person that may be announced this evening, or maybe announced on Rampage, or maybe just a mystery up until Revolution. But who do you got in this one?
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Were they going to have like another match to determine who that other person is, or is it just going to be like one of those surprise things that they just throw in there?
It's their quote unquote Joker. How they have it for like
okay
and stuff.
Okay, so it'll be kind of at the end there. I kind of speculated that it might be Hook because he's on the poster for Revolution, but he doesn't currently have a match. And I know he's had that feud with QT, but it doesn't seem like they're going to put that match on the show. So I don't know. Man, that's a difficult call, because how do you not have Keith Lee win it after that debut and the push that they're giving him? I know Wardlow has a ton of momentum right now, so there's a big argument that for him. But man, I'm trying to think. I don't necessarily see Orange Cassidy winning it, although I think it'd be cool to see him in that title picture. But I don't think, unless Adam Cole wins, I don't think Hangman's the right opponent for him.
It's for the TNT Championship, not the
World. It's for the TNT. Oh, that's right. Oh, my fault. I keep thinking it was for the World, because usually they do stuff like that for the World. Yeah, I mean, that changes a little bit. I still think it's going to be Keith Lee, though, because how do you not have Keith Lee win with that, debuting him in that light, making him that kind of monster? I can't go against Keith.
Yes, yeah, I mean, Keith Lee was definitely one of my picks, but at the same time, I'm thinking Keith Lee versus Sammy Guevara. And I know sometimes we do face versus face, and sometimes we do heel versus heel, but I can't see right now Keith Lee versus Sammy Guevara. But if Sammy were to lose it in the next couple of weeks to like a heel figure, and then Keith Lee go after it then, because he still has his number one contender, I don't know how that would work. But Keith Lee versus Sammy Guevara would just be mint. That would be a beautiful match in itself. And but then Wardlow again is the quote unquote heel, so he could go up against Sammy, get the title, and then continue the thing with MJF. But then of course it could be the mystery person as well. But as for Orange Cassidy, I can't see him getting it yet, but I do see him as a world champion or TNT champion soon. I just not yet, and I can't see Powerhouse Hobbs yet, and I can't see Ricky Starks, because frankly, I'm actually to the point where I'm so sick of the FTW Championship. I think it's one of the most pathetic things in all of wrestling existence. And yeah. I don't care if, Taz is definitely not listening to this podcast, but if he is, dude, make your title prestigious or just let it go. Just because you have a title doesn't mean you're a champion. And like, I'm so sick of it. Like a while back when Cody was still around AEW, I was just like, and then they had that little brief feud where, Taz was getting all upset that the FTW Championship wasn't being recognized by AEW. And I was like, okay, how about let's have Cody win it? And then he can make a mockery of it and make it prestigious, and then it can actually be shared around. But the only people that's been stuck around onto is Team Taz, and it's been around for over a year now. And I want it to go through the AEW roster. I want other people to become stars from that championship, and Taz is going to drop the ego, and it makes a better story too. And also, for the record, if Orange Cassidy beat Ricky Starks and Taz's favorite color is orange, hello. But yeah, I just want the FTW championship to be somewhat prestige because I can't get into it. It's like, oh, Ricky Starks or Brian Cage is defending the FTW championship. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Does it really matter? Because it's not yeah. Speaking of Brian Cage, what happened to that guy? Like he just disappeared off the face of the earth.
I know he's been working the indies, and I know he's still employed by AEW, but I don't know what's going on there. So yeah, we'll figure that out. As the weeks and months go on, maybe he's the mystery.
Yeah, right. So that's where the FTW championship leads you, is to just work in the indie cards after you lose it. So
exactly. Yeah. See. Yeah. Exactly.
No, I get what you're saying, and I think it is kind of, I get the point of it was to kind of put Brian Cage in a big light, but then when they moved him on from Team Taz and putting it on Ricky Starks, I just don't. I don't know. I don't think it's. I don't think it has really any point to it. It's basically a prop, which if you're trying to get away from title belts being a prop, that's not doing any favors. But
exactly.
But yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, but to your point, I don't see Powerhouse Hobbs or Ricky Starks even having a chance.
Yeah, and I'm with you on Keith Lee or Wardlow. I can't decide on who, but again, I don't know who that mystery person is. They could walk in and be somebody crazy, and it could be Cesaro. Yeah. It could be Samoa Joe. He's a free agent.
That's true.
So I mean, gosh knows who it is, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up or I'm disappointed for whomever it is. Just it's a ladder match. I don't think I've ever seen an actual bad ladder match. There's been okay ladder matches. There's been good ladder matches. There's been great, excellent, etc. But I've never seen a bad ladder match. And with Keith Lee, Powerhouse Hobbs, Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, and Wardlow, and then some other person, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So it'll be a fun one. Now that we're moving into the championship picture, we have AEW World Tag Team Championships. It's a triple threat match, and we still don't know who the TBA is, but I think it might be obvious. Jurassic Express defending their championships against Red Dragon versus TBA, which speculating is going to be the Young Bucks. But at this point, I feel the Red Dragon and the Young Bucks are going to screw each other over, and they're going to continue that feud on outside of it. And the Jurassic Express, Express, yeah, that's it.
Jurassic Express, yeah.
Yeah, the Jurassic Express are going to retain their championships while the Red Dragon and Young Bucks continue their feud. And then eventually, I don't know, can't see Kenny Omega. I mean, there's rumors that Kenny Omega is going to come back and be rumored, or to help with the Young Bucks at Revolution. But at the same time, in this scenario, I can't see him coming back now with the storyline where it's at, but I can see them doing this at Double or Nothing, because as we know, the Young Bucks they're really great storytellers, but their stories are very slow burns. They start off really slow, then they escalate, then they kind of calm down a little bit, and then they escalate again. So I think we're going to get the next 2 months of this Red Dragon, Young Bucks versus each other. Adam Cole, trying to fix sides, trying to take sides, trying to fix everything. And then Adam Cole is going to team with Red Dragon, and then we're going to have Kenny Omega and the Bucks versus Adam Cole and Red Dragon at Double or Nothing. But that's just me.
No, I think you're right. And if it is the Bucks that are going to be a part of that match, then that's definitely the way it's going to go. And Jurassic Express is so over. I don't see them losing. Really, it's hard because AEW doesn't change champions that often, and the tag titles I think have changed the most often. Maybe the TNT title, but as much as I would love to say, as much as I would love to see like Red Dragon win it, and or like let's say the mystery team is FTR, I would love for that to be the case and see FTR win it. It's probably going to be the Bucks, and the scenario that you spoke about is probably going to be exactly 100% right. So I think I'm going to go with Jurassic Express as well.
All right, cool, man, cool. Now, moving on to the AEW TBS Championship and the most beautiful specimen in all of AEW history, Jade Cargill versus Ty Conti, and I am.
Wait, who is the most beautiful specimen, Jade Cargill or Ty Conti?
It's Jade Cargill by a mile. The second that she came on television, and then she started with the Shaq thing, and then after that, and then how she's been building herself and getting better with each match. She is she's got it all. She's got the talk, she's got the walk, she's got the look, she's got the wrestle, she's got it all. And and nobody's gonna tell me different.
No, I don't disagree with you, but Tay Conti is a pretty good specimen herself.
Oh, absolutely. Tay Conti is incredible, but it's just this. I always say, like, when Jade Cargill comes out on my television, I was like, wow, look at that specimen.
She looks like $1 million. She really does.
She's just absolutely amazing, and it's no diss to Ty Conti. It's just Jade Cargill. What is it? 28 now, undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think this undefeated streak is going to go to Ty Conti. With all due respect to her, I do see Ty Conti again being a champion in the future. But right now, Jade Cargill is on this run. I don't know if it's going to go to 30 wins. I don't know if it's going to go 40 wins. I don't know if it's going to 50 wins. I don't know when she's going to lose it. But whomever she drops it to is going to get a massive, massive rub from that.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's almost like a Goldberg run at this point. And they're even booking it and billing it to almost be that as well. You know, gave her the mid-card championship, and now she's kind of on a collision course. I think she'll hold it till she faces whoever the AEW world champion is, and she could end up having both and have to relinquish one. But yeah, I mean, I don't see Tay winning this at all. I really don't. I think it's gonna be Jade all the way.
Or Ty Conti. Ty Conti not gonna win.
No, Ty is not gonna win, unfortunately. She's beautiful, but she's not gonna win.
Oh yeah, we love you, Ty. We do. she got a sick finisher though too.
Yeah.
Was it the TKO is what she calls it?
Yeah.
Or the Ty KO or something like that.
Yeah. Ty KO.
Yeah. Jake Hart. I don't know where they're going with her, but I love everything about her. The entrance, the theme song with her too, like everything. It's the whole damn package with her, man. Yeah. And I heard before there like that WWE was interested in her. I was like, well, of course you are. Well, who wouldn't be interested in Jade?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want Jade to go anywhere near WWE because they would ruin her. They would absolutely destroy her. They would not book her the way the AEW is booking her. They would not give her that sexy theme. They wouldn't treat her with the class that she's been given. I want Jade Cargill to either remain in AEW or go anywhere else but WWE. But at the end of the day, whatever makes her happy is what matters.
I like it.
Now, moving on to the other women's match on the card is the AEW Women's World Championship. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Thunder Rosa. And this one is just easy for me. While I absolutely love Dr. Britt Baker, I have to say it's no longer her time. It's Thunder Rosa's time. And I've been predicting this now for 3 months or since Full Gear. 4 months now, almost. So I have been saying that Thunder Rosa will dethrone Britt Baker at Revolution in 2022 for like 3 or 4 months now, and I'm sticking by it. And here it is. The match has happened. It's all set up. Thunder Rosa for the win. What do you think?
First of all, I can't see you on camera, but I really hope when you hit that DMD, you had your finger going with each letter.
I didn't, but yeah, I did not. You know what? I kind of wish I did now.
But no, I 100% agree with you. It's Thunder Rosa's time. The story's been building now for weeks on end, and I don't think it can end any other way. Britt has had a hell of a title run. She's really made a name for herself, and she's elevated the AEW women's division to completely different heights than where they were even a year ago. Okay. And and even though I was in the audience when she completely run down Cleveland and made that crack about having a Baker that can win and all that, I still got to give her some respect, even though she's from Pittsburgh. But yeah, it's going to be Thunder Rosa all the way.
Yeah, they've been building this, and it was those two that had that lights out match, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, oh my gosh, like that, my goodness, like the things that Britt Baker has been able to do. Again, like you've nailed it. You've hit it right. You've hit it right on the head that she has really elevated the women's division, and whether she has the title or doesn't have the title. Hell, she could go after. I mean, I don't want her to go after Jade Cargill yet because I would fear that she might just win it just because of her status right now. But at the same time, if Jade Cargill takes out Britt Baker, that would be amazing for Jade as well.
Right.
And I don't think it would affect Britt Baker either. So I mean, she's in this place now where she is definitely a cemented character in AEW, and she has definitely elevated the women's division, as you said. And I don't know where where do you think she goes from here? If she does lose, which I think she will, which we both think she does, where do you think she'll go from here?
I think maybe she might stay off camera for a couple of weeks and then eventually start a program with. I can see. Well, honestly, no. I think really where she goes from here is Jamie Hayter. I think she has a program with Jamie Hayter because of the bad blood that's been brewing between the two of them, and that could last for probably a couple of months, even into another pay-per-view, because Britt could masterfully duck Jamie for a little while. And I mean, there's plenty of other people she can have. And I guess that's kind of the kiss of death almost for the women's division, though, because aside from, if you're in a mixed tag match, there's not a whole lot of storylines for women outside of the TBS or the AEW Women's Championship. So, maybe she can kind of forge that path now, like find a way to make a women's storyline relevant without the title. And that could even help grow their division even more. But, yeah, I'd say Jamie Hayter would be the next one. And then who knows?
Could be Mercedes, too.
Yeah, there's that story. So there's basically there's a good story with Mercedes and Jamie. So maybe he'll start with Mercedes and go to Jamie after that. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows exactly? But yeah, there's two just lined up right there for her. And I agree. I think Britt Baker will be able to elevate the women's division without the title and whomever she goes up against. And I mean, that's just two women's wrestlers right now. And if I have to think about it, I mean, Hikaru Shida hasn't been around in a while, but trying to think of you know what would be fun? I would actually enjoy somehow having some sort of feud with Britt Baker and Chris Statlander. I think that's fun. All right, well then the final match of the night, which I imagine will be the main event. It's the two Adams, Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole for the AEW World Championship, which is something that I never thought I would ever say last year, which is incredible. Now, in this case scenario, I can't see Hangman losing. I just can't, not yet. Adam Cole will definitely be AEW World Champion, but with him just coming in, 7 months ago now, was it? I can't remember. I can't see it. Not just yet. But again, there's the fun thing about this dynamic is that there's ways to go. Like if Adam Page loses to Adam Cole, then we can have somebody like, if CM Punk were to beat MJF, for example, then CM Punk go against Adam Cole, face and heel dynamic. But then if MJF wins, he could go up against Adam Page with the heel face dynamic. So there's a couple of storylines already there in the making that could just work. Or again, if Adam Cole wins and Kenny Omega comes back in a little bit, that could be the headliner for Double or Nothing, Kenny versus Adam Cole. So, which again would be insane. So, but I think at this point in time, it's going to be the Hangman. What do you think?
Ooh, yeah, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think
go for it, man.
I don't think this match should be the main event. I think Punk and MJF should be the main event. With the build that they've had with that, I mean, that is the best story. That's the hottest story that they have. It's the one getting all the most attention, especially with the stipulation of being the dog collar match. I honestly feel like that should close the show. Now, that being said, it might not. It might be the championship match because, I know I kind of feel like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I feel like that one should close the show. Like if you're going based off of like what the best storyline is, that one should be it. Now, I also honestly think that Adam Cole is going to win. And I don't think he should. And I don't think it's going to do wonders for him if he does. But I'll be honest with you, like Hangman's chase to the title was great. And although he's had some fun matches, and he had that really good match with Lance Archer, I feel like his reign has been a little lackluster. He can't carry things on the microphone the way that previous AEW champions have done it. Like Jericho, Moxley, and even Kenny. He just doesn't have that same, I don't know. Like I guess like coming off of Kenny's reign, it's hard to top that, especially being such a heel. And with Page being a babyface, it's really hard for him to. I mean, he's got the cowboy shit thing down, but I think he at the same time he talks a little too much, and that takes away from it a little bit. Because I just haven't felt the same way about his title reign as I have others. Maybe that's just me. But I don't think it's Adam Cole's time. I really don't. And I think if he wins it now, that honestly could do more harm to him than good, because if business doesn't like pick up dramatically with Cole being champion, then it could be a while before he sees it again. Like I feel like he's got to build himself up a little bit more before he can get there.
I do see what you're saying about the Hangman Adam Page like lackluster thing. I've heard that, and I can see where people are coming from. But I mean, he has had really good matches with Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, and then again that death match with Lance Archer. Oh my God, that I loved the buckshot lariat off the ref.
It was great. Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was great.
That was beautiful.
Perfect.
That was just sick. I was just like, what? What?
Yeah.
I loved that. But yeah, the mic thing, the charisma on the mic, I've sensed that a few times. I really have. But I from the beginning of AEW, when AEW first started, I only knew Adam Page a little bit. And I saw him work in the ring, and I was like, all right, he's a little slow at times, but what's the buzz around Adam Page? What's the buzz? And now 3 years into AEW, or even 2 years into AEW, I could see what everybody was talking about, how excellent he is in the ring and how well he can be. And now I see what everybody else was talking about before he got into AEW. But I do agree with you there on the mic at times, but at the same time, what if Red Dragon won the World Tag Team Championships, and what if Adam Cole won the championship?
Yeah, then you got Undisputed Era holding all the gold again, just like they did in NXT. And honestly, though, that's like, why are you doing that? Like, it's frustrating at times. And here's the thing about, and that's the thing, like with a lot of wrestling fans, where a lot of wrestling fans get pissed off with WWE because you have talented wrestlers that they don't always get showcased, or they don't always get TV time. But what I think a lot of people don't get is that, it's a TV show they're producing, whether it's AEW, whether it's WWE, whether you call it wrestling, whether you call it sports entertainment, it doesn't matter. You're producing an episodic TV show, and you have to have characters on that show that can relate to the audience.
Yeah.
Hangman related to the audience during his chase because, the friends who abandoned him and, the different feelings he had. And I thought there was a lot of heat there, and I thought it was a great story buildup. Now, it would have been a great story buildup regardless if it was for a championship or not. But the fact that it had that championship backdrop, and he was in the first championship match with AEW against Chris Jericho, it really helped kind of tie that all up into a neat little bow, and it was perfect for him to win it. But there are some guys that are better chasing it, though, than actually being champion. When you look at Stone Cold, he didn't spend, it's not like he had a year title reign. Especially for baby faces, it's usually more compelling watching them chase it than it is seeing them have this like long reign where nobody can beat him. And unless you have this stable of heels that you can really throw at him, like a monster factory like they used to do with Hogan, or something along those lines, there's not as much that you can do with a guy. And yeah, he had some great matches with Bryan. He had that fun match with Archer, and the match he had with Omega is great. In ring, he is one of the best, and he tells a great story in ring, but you got to draw the audience in to care about that in-ring match. And since his program with Omega, there hasn't been a whole lot of like just drawing him in or drawing people in. So, I mean, AEW just seems like it works better with a heel champion. I don't know why, but because I feel like even when Moxley had it, I got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm ready to see this off Moxley. I want somebody else to have it. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed like it ran its course.
It was time.
Yeah, and I'm getting to that point with Hangman a lot quicker than I did with Moxley. But when it was Jericho, I was like, yeah, Jericho could keep this shit forever. You know what I mean? Like Le Champion, the Demo God, like he was perfect. And even Omega to a certain extent, like you felt like it was coming, you felt like it was going to be Hangman's time. But at the same time, though, he could have kept that going with Don Callis and the Young Bucks for months longer than what he has. I mean, just look at Roman with the bloodline and how compelling that storyline has been. And he's been champion for like 600 days now. And it hasn't gotten stale yet. So, you know, it's like, you know, I don't know. Like I'm just to a point now where I could see I honestly think it might go to Adam Cole just because he's got the stroke. He's got the, you know, Tony Khan makes the decisions, and the Young Bucks and Kenny and those guys are kind of in Tony's ear, and they seem to have the influence, and he seems to kind of go with some of these younger guys that are on his level and at his age level and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I kind of see it going to Adam Cole, even though I don't want it to.
Well, before we wrap things up here, I'm gonna share out a hypothetical situation. I want you to tell me what you think of it.
Okay.
So let's just say, I mean, I get what you're saying. You know, Adam Cole beating Adam Page. You know, Adam Cole has charisma for days. You know, he could be champion for a very, very long time with his charisma,
especially with all the people he has to protect them.
Yeah, and also his wrestling ability is top notch. But what if, you know, hypothetically, if it is the Young Bucks that are going to be part of this World Tag Team Championship, what if the Red Dragon somehow screws over the Young Bucks in the match, but then, of course, Jurassic Express capitalizes on that when Red Dragon's distracted and they get the win, right? So it was Red Dragon that cost, like, let's just say the Young Bucks were just about to beat the Jurassic Express. Red Dragon, you know, steps in, costs them, then Jurassic Express, you know, opportunes on that and wins, right? But then, so the storyline then is Red Dragon screwed over the Young Bucks. But then we go into the AEW World Championship picture, and it's Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole, and Red Dragon starts coming down to the ring, and they start causing a fuss. And then the Young Bucks, behind the ref's back, super kick Adam Cole right in the face. And then they join Adam Page once again, and they start rekindling that.
That is some WWE booking if I've ever heard it. I don't know if AEW is capable of doing a complex story like that. If I'm being honest, no, I mean that would be a good way to shake things up for sure. It would basically put everybody on clear sides, and you know, I think it'd be interesting to see the Bucks back in the fold with Hangman. But yeah, man, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that. But I don't know. I feel like they're probably just gonna. I feel like Hangman's just gonna get the win, and it's gonna be in the middle of the ring. But or Adam's gonna get the win, or maybe there's some other chicanery that happens that helps Adam get the win. But I don't know, man.
I only suggested it because I know Kenny's been off for, I think, 4 months now with injuries, but I think he's ready to come back. But I'm just wondering that if he's not ready just yet to come back, maybe Adam Page steps into that position just for a little bit longer, and then, you know, we can have somebody else join Adam Cole and the Red Dragon. Like, I think they brought on Jay White there.
Yeah.
So I mean, we could have Jay White, Red Dragon, Adam Cole versus Adam Page, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega.
Because it almost seems like the way that they're telling the story is that Cole is adding in people to this little group, and the Young Bucks are like, wait a minute, we brought you in. Why are you bringing other people in? And that's kind of steering them the wrong way. So, yeah, I could see a scenario where that kind of goes that way. The only thing I can say for certain is that a guy named Adam's going to win the World Championship.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Exactly. That's one thing we both can agree on. and also, and don't forget either, Kenny Omega and Jay White still got beef.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll wrap things up there. Thanks to everyone who continues to listen to the podcast. And if you haven't listened to a Wrastlin Wrantz episode in forever, and you've joined us once again after all this time, thank you so very much. And as usual, if you want to hear your voice on here and rant about wrestling like the rest of us do, then simply send me a PM on any of my social media. You can find all of our socials at SoundCloud under Lotus Moon Productions, Facebook under Lotus Moon Productions, Twitter under Lotus Moon Prod, Lotus M Productions on Instagram for the music side of things, and you can search us on YouTube under Lotus Moon Productions. And what about you, Jason?
So you can find me pretty much on every podcast platform that you got, and we're on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, CastBox, you name it. I also am starting to post full-length episodes of our show on YouTube, so if you just search Gimmick Minute on YouTube, you'll find it. If you search Gimmick Minute in your favorite podcast app, you'll find us. I also have a Twitter, which is @LiveYourGimmick. That's the @ symbol followed by LIVYOURGIMMICK. And like I said, I do clip out parts of the show and put them on TikTok as well. So if you have the TikTok app, just search Gimmick Minute or any of the wrestling tags, and you should be able to find us on there. And we'll be making fun of Matt Cardona until he blocks us.
Well, that's great. It's always a pleasure, Jason, having you on the podcast. And with that, this has been LMP with Wrastlin Wrantz. Please be kind to one another. Take care, and we're signing off.